Okay, hey there guys, so for today's war we're going to be going up against GT40 and this is war number 10. I know I haven't posted war number 9 yet, but I only have 3 fights in it and I spent more time boosting and switching masteries than actually fighting for that war, so I haven't posted it yet. I'm waiting for a war that's not as long. This war is a very big war for me personally, like outside of game and inside of game, so as everyone knows, part of XGT40, and I always like making sure I show up as well as I can against them, and I always end up getting a fair few fights against them, I feel like. Same thing kind of happened when I was back there. I'd have like a small war, and then we'd go against a big alliance, and I'd get a fair few fights. So, I don't know how public I've made this opinion on my YouTube channel. I like Corvus. When Corvus like first came out in the game, I loved Corvus. I was like, oh my gosh, he's so fun. But then like everyone just started using him, and I couldn't, and I just like never really had him, and I didn't have like suicides and stuff, so I never used Corvus much. So then I was just kind of like, I'm just not going to rank up Corvus really. But we got a lot of Corvus charges, and so my officer asked between me and someone else if I can rank up Corvus, and I said yes I can. So right there I actually made a mistake, 2 mistakes in fact, very bad mistakes. My officer's probably going to kill me when he sees those. So I actually practiced it like 5 duels, 6 duels of doing the light and then holding block. Because that's the strategy for that, is I want to do that light to trigger the evade so that I can get the charge into the heavy, but I don't want to hit into him. I realized also during my duels that if you do 2 lights quickly, Corvus's light, his second light is so long, the crit light, that you end up actually like, you catch this Quicksilver, and then you just drop a heavy there, and that fight's over, and I talked for longer than the fight's going for. This was one of the fights I was more worried for. So for every buff he has, you lose ability accuracy. It's like insult to injury, but the reverse. So right here, he just bunkered up just that one time, and I really wanted to see if I could get it to where he didn't get that extra regen buff. But right here, none of my parries are really going to work. So I look at his indestructible counter, I'm like, shoot, I should have done one more hit. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one hit, and I'm just going to back off. Just back, special intercept, back up to SP2. And I panicked. I thought he was going to dash in, but he dashed back. But Corvus' special goes all the way across the screen. He was holding his block, but it's unblockable. And it's a 70k crit. And that was the fight. That was probably the fight I was most worried for, or second most worried for. So, coming up here is a champion I haven't used the most while at Salty. I've used her in the past a lot. So I'm pretty confident and pretty comfortable with her. And I've taken this fight specifically. This is one of the fights in past I did a lot with her. So, the typical thinking for this Nimrod fight that like I would used to get told, it's like, you just build up your charges and you just play it simple. But I was able to find this, like, when you get your 10 up, because you don't want to hit him when he has the armors, because then you glance. Right, I'm glancing. I'm not glancing all the time, and especially because I'm lowering his ability accuracy. But right as I get 10, he's not going to gain an armor here, because I was at 9. I should have been at 10 so he guaranteed didn't get the armor, but he doesn't get the armor there. And if you notice, you're going to start to see the timing come up here. So he loses the armor, and right here he doesn't gain an armor. So I'm going to do a hit, back, parry, 16 shocks, 18 shocks, double it, 36, 34, 34, 34. And I also put on a relic. I've been trying to be better about equipping relics, and I actually activated their runes. So I have an energy vulnerability. It's a really small difference there, but it is a difference there. I also have a relic attached to my Void now. I think this is the first war with the relic on Void. And going into this Captain Sam here, the strategy is pretty much don't push to SP2 and just don't push to SP2. That's all there is to this fight. Like, I'm oversimplifying it a bit, but that's pretty much what this fight is, just because the SP2, especially with the 7-star having the Pierce buff, it'll do a lot of damage into my block. I'd probably live, but it'd be bad. But static defense, Corvus is immune to shocks when he has his glaive up. But I'm just still going to play it very safe. I'm going to do like 1-2 hits and back off. He has a 30% chance per hit to gain an armor up. So I don't want to play too much on trusting my reactions, so that's why I'm just doing like 1-2 hits. If I don't see it, I'll do the light because it's in stun. But right there, triggers the armor, back up, hit, get 2 armor breaks, throw it, wait for him to come back in. Right there, he gets the locked on. I have a cowardice on me, but the SP2 is going to do way too much damage. And now I'm done with the immune champion, so I'm switching off of my suicides because I need to use 2 void fights now. Void fights are pretty fun here, actually. And to wrap up the Corvus section, I was actually pretty happy using him. He's definitely not a champion I'm going to use like every war, but it's a nice champion to have. It'll give me some better versatility. Have a lot of crit champions. So right there, as you see, I do what I normally do for my void fights if I'm having to like, if it's a big war like this, or I'm having to like full mastery swap anyway, I put in greater attack and all of that just to give my debuffs more damage, which is a very good thing. I get the extra attack for this fight here. So there's going to be two things. First, I need an invul for my next fight with Void. You'll see why. This fight, I was like, I'll just keep the Power Start 1 on. I wasn't thinking about this, so I'm not sure if I wanted, in hindsight, I'm not sure if I want Power Start 1 or the invul. So I only gain half a bar of power because of Ma's abilities. He reduces your passive power gain. Pretty much that's it. And every time I throw a heavy, it's going to take 2 hits minimum. Fortunately, his AI is being very friendly here. This is where the fight is going to lose a little bit of my tempo. Because the SP2, I get rooted. I get the 1 hit off there to push him back. Unblockable, triggers well, but I get parried in 2 crits, 3 crits, 4 crits, 4 crits? It's 4 crits. And then he gets unstoppable on the single decks I think I used. 1 or 2. Right here, get rooted again, so I get hit again. Luckily, this next time, no crits. Probably would have just straight up died. And right there, a lag spike happens mid-fight, so as I'm dexing, the reason why I didn't want to attach a relic happens because of the lag spike. I think it's because of the lag spike. I accidentally trigger my rune. So right here, I'm just like, I'm pretty much done trying to drop a heavy, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna play this. I'll wait out the falters. So I get up to 50 Black Tongue there, which is pretty bad. But a solo is a solo. If that second combo had crits, the fight would have been very much more sketchy. And it's a very good thing I put on the biggest boosts I possibly had. I'm up near 100k health right now with Void, and I ended probably down near 30. So, pretty rough fight, but I'm also still pretty happy because the fight, I had some weird RNG, some weird AI, stuff like that. Water's asking me to make sure I beat up this Mephisto really well here, so gotta do that for him, you know. So this is the fight I need the invul on for. So it's the aspect of evolution. So aspect of evolution, every time he fills a bar of power, every stat goes up, is the easiest way to put it. And then he also has 200% improved power gain. Or 100%. So I didn't 100%, I guess, realize how the math on that worked. It's an additive, not a like, oh, if I reduce his base power rate, it's to 0. So when I get petrified, when I get 2 petrifies or 3 petrifies, he's still going to gain power. I believe I would need like 4 or 5 petrifies on him at once to stop his power gain. So you see, just from the 1 aura, he just goes up so high. My strategy is pretty much throw SP1s and bait some SP2s until I can get some petrifies, because I thought the petrifies were going to completely shut him down. Right here, he already gets his first SP3. I'm like, well, heck, I'm just going to go in. So, combo, SP1. I have 1 petrify, and then I don't get a second one, so I'm like, oh, that sucks. But hey, he came back in, reparry. Relic, sick. I'll throw another SP1. I have the power sting debuff, so I'm doing even more damage. Like, look how much damage I'm doing. I'm reversing his healing. Was really happy with that little bit where he just was not throwing his SP3. The only thing I was just like, just don't miss a parry and lose your invul. Just don't miss a parry and lose your invul. Just telling myself that on repeat. So I'm still at 2 indestructible charges and a 33% SP3 boost. And I just triggered his regen, and I have the Fear of the Void up. But as you can see, I want him to gain an aura here. So now I have the 4 petrifies on. Does he gain another aura? Come on, where's the aura? But I'm like, I still have the 2, so I'm just going to relic, keep hitting. This should push me up to an SP1. If you notice, he does not power drain there with 4 petrifies on, because Fear of the Void plus the 2 petrifies. Crazy that it doesn't like power drain him there. I just didn't realize that the math worked in that way. That's just kind of like silly me. So like, yeah, I should have realized that it wasn't. Yeah, I don't know why I thought I would be able to reverse his power gain. But Void still worked really well for that fight, and here is the final score. 3-2. We actually won on time this war. I just didn't get it in the screenshot, but it was like, it's under 8.9, I think. I think they were at like 8.9, and we're like right under there, I think. I think someone on their side posted with time, I think. Probably Shaq. 3-2, absolutely incredible war from both sides. 0-0 is definitely like a fancier looking score, but the 5th time it happens, it's just not as special anymore, you know what I mean? 3-2, now that's a weird salty GT score. Plus, very good for us because we actually made up 1 AB bonus in this war, plus the win. So we're on equal wars, and I think we're like 5 or 6 deaths apart. So we'll have to see how these last 3 wars go, but thank you guys so much for coming around and watching this video. It was a really, really fun war for me, so I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed it. So thank you guys for watching. I'll be seeing you guys soon. Bye.